Julie is amazing. Julie and her sister and 2 friends started Mabel's Labels out of a basement. And I love these stories when they start as a brilliant idea and you start in the basement and then it's just a rocket ship. In 2014, just not that many years ago when you started, from 2003, she was ranked 222nd on the Profit 500 list, so that's an amazing feat. Huge exposure in the US, and if you didn't know, Mabel's Labels is also sold in Walmart Canada for the last 3 years, so very, very impressive. Julie also in a previous life was a lawyer. She's a syndicated blogger and a PR branding guru, and Mabel's Labels has been on Rachel Ray, The View, The Early Show, and The Marilyn Dennis Show, which is amazing. So not only this, she has 6 children. So I'm pretty sure you have access to cloning technology. So let us know about that, if you please. What she's going to do is tell us that story of, from the basement to where she is today, and it's just going to be an amazing story, and I'm looking forward to it. So please help me welcome Julie Cole.
Whenever I get my intro, I realize that's why I'm so stinking tired all the time. Yeah, thanks for coming today. I just thought I'd share some of the things that we've learned along the way, and also talk a little bit about that, ever elusive balance thing, and how I manage all of the business babies and blogging and all that jazz. So I started this company 12 years ago with 3 friends. One is a sister. There's my mic. One is my sister, and then the 2 other friends were friends from University of Waterloo. We all met there. And one actually married my brother, and one married my young uncle. So that's what happens when the male members of your family come to do Oktoberfest with you. They start smooching your friends and then marrying them. So we're also all family. Which has been great. I mean, there's a lot of great advantages to that. I mean, we're still all very involved in the business, so somehow we made it work. In the beginning, we started in my sister's basement. We are an e-commerce business. We're a web-based business originally, but we didn't have a website and we didn't know a thing about technology, so we actually ended up getting our first website from some nerd friends of ours from University of Waterloo. We gave them a foosball table. And they did our website. Now, having just relaunched our website, go have a look. It's beauteous. It's just beautiful. We just got it done. And yeah, I wish it only cost me a foosball table this time around, let me tell you. A little more than that. So we started in my sister's basement. And it was, busy times. I remember at that time I was pregnant with my 4th kid. I would be making labels in the basement till 2 a.m., then go home, get up with the kids at 6, ridiculous. And then we outgrew the basement. It was time to get a bigger place. We had 2 employees, and it was pretty much like sweatshop facility down there. So rather than getting a commercial property at that point, we decided to tell my sister to buy a bigger house with a bigger basement. And she did. So off she moved to her big house with a big basement, and we thought we'd be there 5 years. We lasted 2, and then we outgrew that. Actually, we have one employee who still laughs. She says the first time she met me, I was sitting on the floor of my sister's basement, crisscross applesauce with my laptop, and she's like, wait, don't you own this? I'm like, I know, I can't get a seat. So then after we outgrew Aberdeen, we went to where we are now, which is in Chatham Street in Hamilton, Ontario, and we have it's a 14,000 square foot facility, and we do our production there. We make all our labels. We have all our marketing, our IT, all that jazz. So that's where we are now, very comfortably. And yes, we do have chandeliers everywhere because that's how we roll. And then so this was, and we've grown a lot. So this was our staff in 2007, and this is our staff now. So we have 40 full-time employees. And it's, that's really exciting and fun. And we've experienced a lot of growth. So we're a small to mid-sized company now. So we've been at this 10 years, well now, gosh, longer than that. It's kind of like your kids. The days last forever, but the years go by quickly, So we're actually 12 years now, but what have we learned? The first thing would be about your partners. So I don't know if any of you have business partners, but most business advisors would be like, don't be starting a business with 3 other people, seriously. But it's worked for us. But we really knew who we were getting into bed with. We knew each other really well. Certainly we have lots of feisty conversation around the boardroom table, and that will happen. And you have to be very good about being able to walk out and say, hey, are you taking the kids to the movie tonight still, or what are you bringing for Thanksgiving dinner? We also share a cottage together, as Kathleen knows. She was there last summer in our cottage, which is awesome. So yeah, we have to be really great communicators, and sometimes we screw up, you know, and sometimes we mess up, we don't communicate in the best way, and then we just remind ourselves that we're practicing and we're learning and we'll do better next time. Communication is absolutely the key. Also a key, get a shareholders agreement together while you're all still friends, because if you think like marital divorce is messy, try business divorce. You don't want to go there. So yes, I think put things in place so that if the partnership does not work out, then you know it can end in a as amicable way as possible. We've also been very good about sharing our story. We've got a lot of media and PR. I think it's, you know, we've got a great story. We're the 4 moms from the basement who now are like, you know, international company, blah, blah, blah. But that's the thing you need to leverage with your businesses. You have a story and share it. That's what they want to know. They want to hear about your journey, and that's where you're going to get your PR. We were very early in getting a PR firm working with us, and I think that was smart. A lot of people do a lot of DIY, and we did it ourselves as well. But honestly, like the kind of stuff you get from a PR agency, it's their contacts, and you get testimonials, right? So it's not like advertising, you get actual testimonials, so it's got a lot of leverage. So you may say, I can't afford it, but sometimes I think you can't afford not to. Even if it's just for a product launch or something like that for a short amount of time, look into getting some professional PR, putting professional PR around it. I'm a big fan. It's very important to build community, especially for us. Like, moms love community, right? Like, we're the moms. They're all blogging, they're on social media. We have 140,000 Facebook fans at Mabels Labels because they want community and they want to feel a part of things. So we make sure that we provide that for them. I'm a blogger. I've been blogging since 2006. I blog at Huffington Post, at Mabels, at Yummy Mummy Club, Modern Mom, a bunch of places. Do I blog about labels? Heck no. I don't blog about labels. I blog about being a mom and having loads of kids and running a business, because that's what they want to hear. People want to feel connected. That's what's going to differentiate you from the big guys. You're a brand, you're a face, you're relatable, and that's what we've done really well. Awards. I think getting awards is a really good idea, and at least applying for them. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One is, it's great PR. Get your name out there. Like, I'm still on the Rolodex when somebody looks up a mom or a business person. You know, they're doing an article on the Globe and Mail. Okay, who have we got? I come up. I think the process is good. Have you got a business plan together? Have you planned? What are you doing? What's your 5-year out? So doing the actual application is such a pain, but it's so worth it because it makes you ask yourself those questions. And it makes you an expert, you know, like you might be viewed as an expert in something. And again, that gets you being the person who gets the call when they want somebody to comment on something. And that's getting your company, your name out there, which is good for your business. And you have to be innovative. I mean, of course we've been copied. We are copied within 5 minutes of starting our company. You're gonna get copied, know it, accept it, try not to, you know, worry about it too much. Like, we've got a lot of fast followers. We'll spend a year putting a product out, somebody else does it, they see what we do, and they do it 3 months later. But to us, the fun part is being innovative, and we don't want to be a fast follower. But you got to make sure you don't obsess too much about your fast followers. Look at them in the rearview mirror, keep an eye on what they're doing, but don't let that get in the way of your focus. You focus on what you're doing. And innovation takes all kinds of forms. Yeah, products, for us, for sure, product innovation. But we also are innovative when it comes to, I mean, us going into retail. You know, we were 10 years online business, and then we did something completely crazy and got a retail product and did retail. Also, one thing that I love that we've done that is innovative is we have a results-only work environment. So from an HR perspective, like, nobody in our company, like, I don't care where they sit and do their job. Like, they don't have to sit at Mabels Labels from 8:30 to 5:30 every day. And it is amazing. It's so strange. When you start treating people like adults, they act like adults. And I knew better than anyone. Like, I'm a mom. I have 6 kids. I built this business, like, at very unconventional times, and I was highly productive in very unconventional ways, so why not extend that to our staff? So we're all goal focused. And I had an IT kid go to Europe for 3 months on row, and he didn't miss a deadline, didn't miss a goal, so didn't miss a paycheck, and came home to his job. And the beautiful thing about that was he learned that dreams and work don't have to be mutually exclusive. We didn't lose a great employee. And also while he was there, he went to all these print shows, he met all these cool nerds when he was at these like hubs and share desk and stuff like that. So my company benefited as well. So innovation can take all kinds of great forms. And the other great thing about the row, I have so many great things. I can talk about that for hours, but I'll shut up about that. But the one thing about it too, when you're a small company and maybe you can't afford to do the big salaries and stuff like that, this is a really great HR recruiting tool. You know, especially for IT folks, because they know better than anyone that you can work from anywhere. I mean, look at us, right? How much we can get done from, I can sit up on my dock. Actually, we don't have a lot of Wi-Fi up there, but it's good. It makes me not. There's one rock I can go on like this if I have to. But you know, you can work from anywhere, anytime, so why not, right? So I thought I'd just take a couple minutes also to talk about my life. Welcome to my nightmare. How do I manage business, babies, and blogging? Because people often ask me how I do that. The first thing I would say is get help. And you know, like I was just talking to some of the gals earlier, and like, oh gosh, you've been doing a lot of travel. How do you manage it? Well, it takes a village, and I've got a good one, and I've made sure I put a good one together. But I learned that lesson the hard way, and learn from me through my mistakes. I got a nanny when my 5th child was 1 year old. Can you say 3 kids too late on that one? Like, what was that? But I think part of it is, like, I think as women, we tend to get in this, I left the traditional workforce. I started this business, actually started because A, good product idea, B, my eldest child got diagnosed with autism. So I dropped out of the traditional workforce in order to put a program together for him. And I had a 40-hour-a-week ABA program. My basement was turned into basically an educational facility, and therapists were coming and going. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get a nanny, because why would I do that when I left the traditional workforce so I could be with my kids? And then, but that kind of way of thinking is really backwards, because then, you know, basically I have 3 or 4 years where I just kind of don't remember. It's all a blur. And once I got a nanny, I'm like, ooh, it all lifted. I'm like, oh, the people, the cute small people, I love them. And my work, I love it. It just made everything a lot better. So don't be one of those stubborn people like me, and get the help you need. Get a cleaner, you know, like get somebody to come and clean your house. And you know, the whole, oh, I can't afford it. If you're not giving your kids like craft dinner for 3 nights a week every week, you know, you can afford it, because you think a cleaner, I'm talking just like every 2 weeks, somebody come in, do the floors, toilets, because a cleaner is way cheaper than a divorce lawyer. And you know, a clean house can save marriages, so there you go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Just say no. Yeah, you gotta start saying no to stuff. It's hard, it's not something we do well. Stand in front of the mirror and try it out. I don't have a cloning machine in the basement. When I do, I'll use it, and then I'll auction it off to the highest bidder. But until then, there's just me. And you know, there's only so much I can get done. So I've become really good at saying no. Now when I get invited to an event, or, you know, because I do blogging, a lot of brands and products want me to, you know, so they'll invite me to their things. Like, I literally have a checklist, and it's got 10 things on it about whether I say yes to going to an event. And if it doesn't fit, then I just say no, because I could be at something like every day, and I still, you know, we got to get the labels out the door too, right? And I also challenge you all to, you know how we all have those like long to-do lists? I want you to write a should not do list. What's on there that you don't need to be doing? Write it down and ditch it, delegate it out, or maybe it doesn't really matter anyways. Like, I kind of sometimes do the 100-year out rule. Like, does it really matter in the big picture? And that's a good way to know whether you should be doing it or not doing it. Lower the bar, yeah. Look, sometimes I say my standards are so low, if they're any lower, I trip on them. You know what, we're all busy juggling activities, our kids, our work lives and stuff. Like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, honestly, if the kids have hot dogs 2 nights in a row, like, my kids have not had scurvy yet. So, and nobody's called CAS on me because there weren't, cooked vegetables on the dinner table. And this particularly happens when I have a new baby. Like I've had 6 C-sections, so it's always a bit of a bummer of a recovery because I get home, like toddlers are jumping on my guts and stuff. So I really lower my standards around that time. When I have a new baby, I always say, if my kids ask for bowls of mayonnaise for dinner, I'm like, bowls of mayonnaise all around. Everybody gets bowls of mayonnaise. Everybody loves bowls of mayonnaise. Like, it's okay. It's okay. The kids are all right. And I have a feeling they're gonna be okay, even if they have a bowl of mayonnaise for dinner once in a while. And the thing is, and I'm really lucky because, I could invite any of you into my home right now, not knowing the state of it, and I would be so fine with it. I think I stopped caring what people think about 4 kids ago, because, to me, it doesn't matter. Nobody at my funeral is gonna talk about my beautiful, pristine home and my gorgeous meals or anything like that. And that's awesome because guess what? I don't want them talking about that at my funeral. That's not important to me. But it is very freeing. My mother-in-law once said to me, Julie, you're so lucky. You're so lucky that you don't care about the state of your house or how your kids look. But she was right, and she meant it genuinely because she saw me the way I parented, and she was like, I never played with my kids. I never did anything with my kids. I was so busy. On Mondays, she would have, every day, she would have her diapers on the line at 6 a.m. because she wanted the neighbors to see that she had hers out there first. She washed the sheets every Tuesday, and that was even if there was no vomit on them, or snot, or pee. She would just wash them for no reason. Right? Crazy. Who is this woman, this mad woman? No wonder as soon as she comes to my house, she starts stripping sheets. But she, she's legit in what she's saying. She's saying, Julie, you got it figured out, right? It's okay. We're all the important thing is that, and doing the 100-year rule out thing, me spending time with my kids, does that matter? Yeah, it is, because guess what? Then they're gonna be great parents, and they're gonna do the same, and they're gonna have great kids. Me making sure that my house is spotless before you walking in, what's the worst gonna happen? You're gonna say I'm a slob. Okay, news for you, I am. No big mystery. No, it's fine. The kids all have chores. They do a good job keeping the place clean. So yeah, just don't be so hard on yourself. And I know I've got a lot of friends who are like, Julie, I wish I could do that. I can't do that though. Pick something. Just start small and practice. Whenever you feel like I can't do that, this isn't working, remind yourself I'm still practicing, and just pick one thing that you can chill out about and try that. Be strategic. Yeah, I plan my days strategically when it comes to my kids and my work. Part of the results-only work environment is people aren't allowed to do those drive-bys. When you're working at your desk and somebody, hey, Julie, can I pick your brain? And you're like, yeah, what? And then you help them, and then you get focused back on what you're doing, and then 2 seconds later, somebody says, hey, Julie, can I pick your, and you look up. We don't allow those at Mabels Labels, and it's a beautiful thing. So what happens is I can turn off all my notifications. I will work for an hour, and then I'll take 10 minutes to check my emails, check my social media, whatever. And it's awesome because what it means is that somebody else's lack of planning doesn't turn into my emergency. So people running into my office saying, oh my God, Julie, I need this, blah, blah, blah. It's yeah, no. If they need to talk to me, they can email me and say, Julie, are you available to have a talk with me today? And I'll be like, yes, I'm gonna be in my office with my door open from 2:15 to 2:30, please pop in then. So I'm not having those interruptions all the time. And that is when I have so much, and you guys are gonna be the same, I have to be highly productive. I got a lot of shit to get done every day. A lot. So not only am I strategic at work, I'm strategic with my family. My kids, if I have to have a girl who plays hockey on a boys team so that they're on the same team, so be it. If one girl has to play up, so this year I just survived my first year of 6 kids in ice hockey. Thank you very much. And carpool queen. I set up a Facebook page for my neighborhood moms. There's 250 of us on it. I could go on there now and somebody be like, guys, I have to pick up my car down on Brand Street. Is anyone driving down? And somebody will have said, I'm on my way, I'll pick you up. Or I'd be like, hey, is anyone doing this? And people are like, you're so lucky you have such a strong community. I'm like, nah, it's not luck, I set it up. I set it up. So, I always find, the more I work and the sweatier I get, the luckier I am, right? Don't you find that? Strange coincidence. So you know what? Build yourself these communities. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. And make yourself, like, I have a lot of people do a lot of favors for me, but I can tell you when I'm at home, I'm doing mom favors. If we had neighbors, oh my God, my neighborhood's hilarious. The kids are always in my house. Like, neighborhood kids have their own food cupboard at my house. And we had neighbors who filled in their pool because they were like, well, our kids are always in the six-pack. Our house is called the six-pack house. They're always in the six-pack pool, so why wouldn't we have a pool? Like, the best was, these neighborhood kids, this is just such a sideline, but I gotta tell you, because it's so funny. I just thought of it like 3 years ago. No, it must have been longer than that, because I had a baby at the time. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was so tired. I was like, Daddy, I'm gonna sneak up for a nap. You got this? He's like, yeah, go. So I went and had a nap, and I woke up from my nap, and I was having a nice cuddle with one of my babies. I opened my eyes. It was the next door neighbor who's 6. So yes, we have a very open door policy at my house. So be strategic, and I'm very strategic about my time because I do get a lot of that, Julie, can I pick your brain? I'm starting a business, can I pick your brain? I'm doing this, can I pick your brain? And I want to help, and I want to share what I've learned because that's really important. But at the same time, I gotta get the labels out the door. I gotta sell the labels, right? So what I figured out was what I'm gonna do is I do a half day every 6 weeks where I set up shop at a coffee shop, and anyone who says in that 6 weeks, can I pick your brain? I say, yes, this is schedule, and they can have 40 minutes. And if they're like, oh, that day doesn't work for me, I'm like, okay, notify me for my next session. So it's not me like jumping through hoops to help people, but I have the opportunity to help them, but it's in a manageable way that works with my very busy schedule. So when I figured that one out, I was like, oh, I nailed that. Like, I can still help, but it's not, I'm not a consultant. I'm not getting paid to be a consultant, but I want to give back. So I don't mind doing a half day every 6 weeks, right? Sitting in a coffee shop and meeting people and sharing what I know and learning about all the cool stuff they're doing. But it was getting overwhelming, quite frankly. So I had to find a solution. And I think that's the thing, like, I don't, I'm not a big complainer. I'm a solution finder. So, my friends are always like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, does that actually lead to you getting more sleep? Because that's never worked for me. Whenever I say I'm tired, I don't suddenly a bed appears and I get a nap. So like, if you're tired, figure out a way, rather than, and I don't actually like to be that mom. I don't want my kids hearing me complain. I was raised by somebody who never complained, and it was such a gift to me, and it's something that I'm really trying to, carry on, because complaining is so, it's just not effective. It's not proactive at all. So if there's a problem, and there's problems all the time, like, let's try and find great solutions to them, because that's how our time is best, most effective. So yes, be strategic, home and work. And make people value your time, right? Like, that's like when I'm talking about the drive-bys and the not consulting like regularly, like, people need to appreciate your time. That goes for your husbands too. Remember, you're not saving lives. So, right, like, when we're running around at the end of August and we gotta get the labels out the door, where our hair's on fire, we're like, oh, we gotta get the labels out the door, the 24-hour turnaround. Sometimes I'm like, dudes, are we performing CPR right now? Have we pulled the defibrillator out? Are we doing the Heimlich maneuver? Come on. We're making labels, we're not saving lives. And we take our business very seriously, and we do take our 24-hour turnaround. We take it all very seriously, but sometimes you just have to have a healthy dose of perspective. And the same with the kids, like, the panic about the kids. The best thing you can do with your kids, like, honestly, is just get them as independent as you can. I always go with the line, why do for a child something they can do for themselves? Like, I would never, when we were talking about this before, one of the moms was saying our kid was complaining about breakfast. I'm like, you get your kids breakfast? All my friends send their kids to Auntie Julie's boot camp, where they have 4 fun days of discipline and chores. No, but I'm telling you, it's like, with kids, short-term easy is gonna be long-term hard. If you're doing it for them, it's gonna be harder for you long-term. So right now, make them make the messes, make them clean it up, and then your life is gonna be so much easier when they're older. I've got a friend who's a control freak and a neat freak, bad combination, and she's got these 2 kids. So she never let them go in the kitchen because they would make messes. And you couldn't have that, right? Well, now those kids are like 17 and 18, and they sit on the couch and like, Mom, get me a glass of milk. And she jumps up and gets them a glass of milk. Like, do you really want to order barking teens on your couch? Not so much. So tell them to pour a glass of milk. When they spill it, tell them to clean it up. So yeah, perspective is probably my thing that really has gotten me through the last crazy few years. And you know, when life gives me lemons, I make a gin and tonic. And really, this is about just, you know, I was just commenting, a mom was commenting on a Facebook group I'm on this morning about she's, you know, fallen out of love with her husband and she's not sure what to do about it, whatever. And I said, look, you're the only one who knows your marriage, but life sometimes, you know, when the grass starts looking greener on the other side, sometimes you have to start taking better care of your lawn and appreciating that your lawn's all right, and maybe I just need to throw a little bit of fertilizer on that, and maybe I need to do what I need to do. And this, again, is about appreciating what you have and having perspective, and that is the best gift that you can have for yourself and you can give to your children. And I do this by tricking myself into thinking about the good things. So an example of this would be, you know how like our kids are always sick? Like, don't you find like who am I gonna get out the door this morning? The kids are always sick. So I pretty much go to bed every night thinking, in the middle of the night, I'm gonna wake up and somebody's gonna say, Mommy, I don't feel well. And I'm gonna say, what's wrong? And as I'm saying what's wrong, they're gonna vomit in my mouth. And every night I go to bed thinking I'm gonna get puked in somebody's gonna puke in my mouth. And guess what? It only happens like 4 times a year. So 361 days a year, I'm waking up going, nobody puked in my mouth. It was a great night, right? We got through it. So rather than being like, oh man, 4 times this year, really? I'm doing 361 times of the good. And that takes a shift in thinking. And again, and I had to teach myself that, and I practiced that because, look, when I had my 5th kid and my oldest kid was 6 with autism, dudes, not easy days. And you know, my mother-in-law, she's very wise in her ways. I remember her saying to me before we got married, Julie, there's not gonna be hard days, hard weeks, hard months. There's gonna be hard years. So go into this knowing that. And I don't actually think it's been that bad, but you know, it's not all gonna be easy. It's not the land of milk and honey. It's not all romance and roses. You know, it's hard work. When you're running a business and you're raising kids, it's hard work. So, you know, you just work at it and try. You've got your perspective and your attitude, the things that you control, that can make it all a lot easier. So yeah, gins and tonics all around. Know yourself. I think it's really important to know ourselves and not to listen too much to what the gremlins out there are saying. You know, like I get a lot of people saying, oh, you know, Julie, you don't get enough me time. You don't do me time. And quite frankly, I don't really, my idea of me time is just different. Like, this is me time. Going to work is me time. Going to the hockey arena and not chasing a toddler around the stands and being able to watch my kid play is me time. And yeah, I'm not gonna go sit and have a coffee and flip through magazines. I had a massage once. It was the most stressful hour of my life because I was lying there thinking about all the crap I could be getting done. And I finished, I was like, never again. That was awful. Where's my mental note of, you know, it was terrible. And the same goes for our families. You know, like a lot of people tell you what you should be doing with your family. And, you know, a lot of pressure is gone if you really set. Here's a classic one for you. At some point, a few years ago, everyone was saying, oh my God, you have 6 kids, how do you do one-on-one time with them? I was like, one-on-one time? What's this one-on-one time you speak of? And more people were saying it, so I just sat Daddy down, I'm like, dude, we're gonna start saving for therapy bills, we're not doing this one-on-one time thing with them that they need. And he was like, oh, okay, so what do you wanna do? And I was like, I've got a plan. We're gonna do this thing called date night. And every Friday night, one kid picks one parent and they're gonna go do something. And then the other parent will stay home with the other 5 kids. They can, you know, they can go bowling, they can play cribbage at Tim Hortons, they can do whatever. It's their date night. He's like, sounds a bit contrived, but whatever, let's do it. He's pretty good. He lets me, I'm the president of the family. He's a very good vice president. If you can set that up, I highly recommend that too. So we sat the 6 children down and we explained date night to them. We said, yes, you're gonna be able to pick a parent, you're gonna go off. And they're like, I said, any questions? Mama, can I please bring a brother or sister along for my date night? I was like, is this a trick question? Was that a plant? I was like, I don't know, I think the whole point is, no, I think you're not supposed to. I don't know, I'm just listening to the other people telling me what my family needs. Next kid, Mama, can the whole family come on my date night? screw date night, that was it. I think we had 2 date nights, and I was like, but you know what? That was me listening to the other people. I know what my kids need. First of all, they think it's boring if they're with one parent. That's what happens when you have a lot of kids. They're used to having lots of kids around, right? Especially your latter ones, like your third-borns or whatever, they just don't even. My fourth, she had to, whenever she went to a birthday party, she had to bring an older sibling with her because she didn't like to be away from them. Codependency, and that might be other therapy bills. But you know, like, I can't let other people tell me what my kids need. If I need to have a chat with my kid, I'm like, hey dude, I'm going to the groceries, come with me. Okay mom, hop in the car, and you know those car chats. So once you realize you don't need to listen what other people tell you need for yourself and what your family needs, and just start trusting yourself as the expert of your family and trusting that, it relieves a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. I always say an entrepreneur starts a business to be able to make choices. We choose to live as dynamic business owners, enthusiastic mothers, and inspired women. And that is a lifestyle I highly recommend to you all. Thank you.